Hi everyone and welcome back. Thank you for watching today. Today I am working on a layout for the Hip Kit Club challenge issued on the group, Facebook group. And the challenge was to use a mixed media type background using gelatos, mist, or inks on a white background. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm using the last bits of my kit that I have, scrapbooking a layout of my grandson's first time trick-or-treating, which was just this past Halloween. And so I'm using a cut file there you see from the Silhouette store, and using a few bits and pieces that I have left in my kit, and then adding a few other embellishments as well. I'm going to be putting this on watercolor paper since I am doing gelatos with a lot of water. I'm going to be using that for my background. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso on the background. Probably didn't have to do this since it is watercolor paper, but I went ahead and just put just a thin layer across the middle of the page, which is primarily where I'm going to be applying the gesso. And so you see me just rubbing a little bit of that on there now to kind of just set that and create a base there before I put my gelatos. And so you're going to want to just make sure that that gesso is dry. So I'm just going to give it a quick application there with my heat gun, and just to try to get that dried real quick. And it's not typical Halloween colors that I'm using. I was wanted to kind of go off of the colors in his costume. He was a little monster, and so I wanted to pull in some of the blue, the brown, the yellow, and even a touch of the red. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the background. I didn't want it orange and black. I didn't want to go with the typical Halloween colors. I wanted it to be something bright that kind of matched his costume. So that's what I went with. And I'm just rubbing those gelatos in pretty hard to get a good application, and spreading that around. Want it to be the background behind the photo, so I want it to kind of peek out from the top and bottom of the photo, and then also the trick-or-treat cutout. And then I'm just adding some water to the gelatos to thin them down. And I should have had more jars of water. You see here my blue kind of starts to get a little bit muddy, and I was like, not a good idea. So I went ahead and used that, and it worked out okay. But you're going to see me here. I'm going to take the jar and go switch out the water because I was trying to get more of a blue there, and it was kind of pulling in some of the orange from the other gelatos. So if you're doing multiple colors, it's kind of a good idea to have some extra water, a couple jars of water, so that you don't have to mix the colors or leave and get fresh water every time. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to create those drips of water. And what actually worked better after I was applying the water with a brush is I just kind of sprayed it with water to kind of get those drips. It's a technique. This is nothing new. I've seen it done a lot, but I've never done it on a page, and I really liked the way that it looked, and so I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. And I have to be honest, when I was about at this point in the process, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? This isn't looking quite how I had envisioned it. But I just kept going, and I actually liked the end result. So, and I was trying to decide here which which color I wanted the trick or treat to be on top of. Ended up going where I'm going to put it on the right side there with the orange as the background. And this took a long time to dry because it was so wet. I had to dry that with my heat gun for quite a long time. I ended up cutting some of it out because it just took a while to get it dry. And so now what I'm going to do is I just want to put another layer of texture on there. So I'm using this mask from Studio Calico, and triangle mask. I'm just going to kind of add some triangles with the molding paste. I did like the molding paste. It's a little bit thinner than the texture paste by Ranger that I used, but I had this on hand. It's kind of the first thing I grabbed, so I just used the molding paste, and it worked. And I love the extra layer of texture. Now you do want to make sure that you do get the paste off of your stencil. You don't want to leave it sitting and let it dry on there because it does harden. So I always make sure that I do get that completely off of my stencil, and before I move on. And then I'm going to give it a quick blow of with the heat gun to try to get it set quickly. And I like it. It just adds another layer of texture on the page. And so I was excited about doing this layout. I wanted to really get a layout of his first trick-or-treating. Last year he was just a baby. He was only 3 months old, and so obviously we didn't take him trick-or-treating. And so this was just really a big deal for my daughter. We were really excited about it, and he learned very quickly, as I'm sure those of you with children know. It didn't take him very long. He's 15 months, almost 16 months, and he learned very quickly how to work it, and he knew that if he would go up to the door knock on the door, ring the doorbell, he would get candy. And so he learned very quickly how to work that, and he had such a great time, and he was really a trooper. It ended up being really cold here, and it was like 40 degrees when we were out walking and trick-or-treating, and he was just a trooper. He didn't whine, he didn't cry at all. He had a good time, and he was absolutely worn out by the time we got back. So it was just a fun night. I wanted to make sure that I documented it, and I loved this photo. It's one of my favorite photos that we got from that evening. And I was able to kind of stand off to the side and actually get a picture of him right at the door looking at the lady that was giving him the candy. And it was just precious, and I just loved it and wanted to try to get that on the layout. You'll see it when you saw at the beginning. I had two photos. I was trying to decide if I wanted to do the one of him in the chair with his monster outfit, which is adorable too. But since the title is Trick or Treat, I wanted to make sure that I captured him at the door. So that's kind of when I maybe go with that picture. And two, it's just a picture that I love. I just thought it was so cute. So I actually cut the Trick or Treat file. That is a file from the Silhouette store, and if you just search Trick or Treat, it'll come up, I'm sure. I can give you a link to it actually down in the comments too to make it easier. And I'm just trying to layer on a few pieces here and there. I'm typically not a big button fan. I don't know why. I just grabbed those. They were on my desk, and I was like, oh, I'll just add some buttons and some colors. So I added those along with it. Some of the pieces are from my own stash. The Eek wood veneer at the top, that's actually from Pink Fresh Studio. Wasn't part of the kit. I just had that in my stash. The chipboard cameras from Studio Calico. The yellow little clip, I think that came in a Studio Calico kit, if I'm not mistaken, just in my stash. Now, the cork veneers did come in the Hip Kit Club October kit. That was part of that. And then some of the papers that I'm layering with, the little photo paper at the top, that was all part of my Hip Kit Club for October. So I'm just applying the final embellishments here. And I did want to kind of just see what you guys think. I've sped up the video a little bit more than I usually do. And I kind of curious to see if where my viewers are at, which way you like it. Normally I do it like 2 times. This I have on like 4 times the speed, so it doesn't take so long to complete the video. But I know I don't want it to be like it's kind of like sometimes when I watch a video that's really fast, it kind of like I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. And so I don't want you to feel like that when you're watching it, but I don't want to drag it out either. So I tried to speed it up a little bit more. I'd appreciate feedback. Please leave me comments. Let me know what you think, because this is twice as fast as I usually have it forward or have it set. So I'm just curious if it works for you, if you like it quicker so it gets through quicker, or if you'd rather have it slowed down just a little bit so it's not so I don't want it to appear jerky or kind of like it's chaotic. So I'd be curious to see what your feedback is. I thought I'd just give it a try and kind of make it a little bit quicker. So please feel free to leave me a comment because I really do appreciate your feedback and want to make it enjoyable for you. So I would appreciate that. Because, yeah, I'm having even kind of a hard time keeping up with the narrating of it, which is not bad, but I'm a talker and can share stories, and so it's just a little bit faster than normal. I was trying to decide here if I should put lines on my page, and I decided to just forego that and just write directly on the layout because I did want to add a little bit of journaling because he was such a trooper. I mentioned he was in 40-degree weather that night that we went out, and he didn't cry or complain or anything and had a great time. So anyway, here is the finished layout, and I will go ahead and show you some still shots at the end. And again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.